50 facts about Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3 that you probably didn't know. The original teaser trailer for the film featured a helicopter belonging to bank robbers get caught in a web between the Twin Towers. This scene was, of course, cut from the movie after the September 11th attacks, but in this specific shot, you can still make out the Twin Towers reflected in his lens. In the scene when Flash Thompson and Peter Parker get into a fight, the actor who played Flash, Joe Manganiello, was offered $100 to punch Maguire by the crew during their scene, because apparently he was a very difficult actor to work with. He declined. James Franco, who we all know played Harry Osborn, originally auditioned for the role of Peter Parker, but lost it to Tobey Maguire. Hugh Jackman as Wolverine almost had a cameo in the film, but it was canceled after they couldn't find the suit. When Peter Parker first takes off his shirt, that's not Tobey Maguire's body. That belongs to a skinny stunt double that Tobey's head was digitally put on. Tobey Maguire's portrayal of Spider-Man is famous for having organic web shooters, but he almost had mechanical web shooters. In a very early teaser trailer for the movie, we get to see Peter make his own mechanical web shooters. But as we all know, the movie opted for the eyebrow-raising choice of organic webs. In the same early teaser trailer, for a split second we get to see an unused Spider-Man suit. This suit, designed by Alex Ross, swaps out the blue with black, has a different and much larger spider symbol, and has reflective eyes. James Cameron almost made the first live-action Spider-Man movie in the 90s, and he wanted Leonardo DiCaprio to star. But it ended up getting canceled, and Cameron went on to direct Titanic. Originally, Stan Lee's cameo was him selling sunglasses at a stand at the Unity Day Festival.
Oh, hey, how about these? They wore them in the X-Men.
But the scene was scrapped in the end. The special effects team had to tone down the gore of Spider-Man and Green Goblin's final battle so the movie could maintain a PG-13 rating. Nicolas Cage and John Malkovich were considered for the role of the Green Goblin, but Dafoe said that he lobbied to prove he could play the part. When Peter first discovers his powers, Tobey Maguire improvised the phrases that Peter says when he tries to activate his biological web shooters.
Shazam!
The font used in the logo of all three Spider-Man films is the same as the PlayStation 3 logo. Kirsten Dunst, who plays Mary Jane in the film, originally thought she was going to play Gwen Stacy because they both had blonde hair. In the scene when Peter sketches his concept for the Spider-Man costume, this isn't Tobey Maguire's hand, but rather it belongs to comic book artist Phil Jimenez. The scene in the cafeteria where Peter Parker catches all of the food on the tray wasn't done with CGI, but rather, they did it practically. There is a rumor that it took 156 takes to get it right, but it has since been debunked as false. If Tobey Maguire ever had to go to the bathroom, it was about a 30-minute process to get out of the Spider-Man costume. During the iconic upside-down kiss scene, Tobey Maguire couldn't breathe because his wet mask was covering his nose. After receiving a back injury while filming Seabiscuit, Tobey Maguire almost got replaced by Jake Gyllenhaal, who we all know now today as Mysterio. During the apartment fire scene, the guy who says that there's someone still in the building is the same person who throws stuff at Green Goblin on the bridge in the first film. In this shot, you can actually see the photo that Peter took of Mary Jane in the first movie. Originally, Stan Lee's cameo would have been the guy who says,
"Whoa! He stole that guy's pizza!"
But after some behind-the-scenes issues, Donald Rawlings got cast instead. In the scene when Doc Ock's arms are first attached to his body, real needles were used. Ouch. The fight between Spider-Man and Dr. Octopus was originally Sam Raimi's idea for the first film, but ended up in the second. But since some work had already been done on it, it was the first to be filmed. The stunt when Peter flips over a car was done by both Tobey Maguire and his stunt double, but director Sam Raimi liked Tobey's take better, and that's what we see in the film. Doc Ock was supposed to be in a love triangle with Mary Jane and Peter. After much deliberation, the idea was scrapped, saving us from what would have been a pretty strange film. Doc Ock was supposed to be in the first movie, and he would have teamed up with the Green Goblin. However, Sam Raimi later decided against it, since the movie already had too many moving parts. Alfred Molina, actor of Doc Ock, gave names to each of his tentacles. They were Harry, Larry, Flo, and Mo. When Peter is trying to get his powers back, he mentions getting a strong focus, and after he falls, the car he falls on is a Ford Focus. For Tobey Maguire's stunts, the glass in his glasses had to be removed so that they didn't cause any reflections, and then they were added digitally. Originally, the guy who was getting beat up in the alley was supposed to be revealed as the guy who brought Jameson Spider-Man's suit, and that the thugs were trying to steal the bag with the suit in it. One of the posters for Mary Jane's play says Jay Frazier is especially effective. This is a hidden shout-out to John Frazier, the special effects director for the film. The bank used during the heist scene is actually the same bank that's being robbed in Police Academy 6, City Under Siege. As we all know, Alfred Molina gives an unforgettable performance as Doc Ock that we can't imagine anyone else as but Robert De Niro and Arnold Schwarzenegger were actually considered for the role. During the scene of Harry Osborn's funeral, if you take a closer look in the background, you can see a familiar face. Here is Flash Thompson, returning from the first film. The font used for Venom's message to Spider-Man is the same font used in various Spider-Man comics, as well as for the logo of the Spider-Man 1994 TV series. Sandman actor Thomas Hayden Church actually broke 3 of his knuckles while filming the scene in the subway after the effects team forgot to put foam in the pillar before he punched it on the first take. Originally, Mary Jane wasn't supposed to be in the taxi suspended in the air during the film's climax, but rather it was meant to be Gwen Stacy who had gotten kidnapped, and Mary Jane would have had to persuade Peter to save her. While actor of Venom, Topher Grace, was filming with the Venom symbiote on, he chose not to drink any water at all so that he wouldn't have to take off the costume just to go to the bathroom. And keep in mind that it took them around 5 hours just to get him in the costume. Bryce Dallas Howard has disclosed that the photographer present during the crane scene was actually an entertainer who performed magic at her birthday party in 2nd grade. During the scene when Spider-Man confronts Sandman after robbing a bank, Spider-Man punches through Sandman's chest. But would you believe me if I said this wasn't all done with CGI? Well, amputee boxer Baxter Humby stood in for Toby, creating the effect of the punch. A digitally added hand completed the illusion from the other side. Initially, the Osborn's butler was going to be another figment of Harry's imagination. This explains why it took him time to reveal that Spider-Man wasn't his father's killer. Originally, Venom intended to recruit Sandman by funding his daughter's medical treatment. In the original idea, Sandman's daughter would appear in the final showdown to reveal she couldn't be cured and wanted to die, knowing that his father was a good man. Producer Avi Arad strongly pushed Sam Raimi to feature Venom in the movie. Arad believed Raimi was favoring his preferred villains, wanting to include a fan favorite. Reluctantly, Raimi added Venom to please Arad, resulting in the unconventional portrayal we witness. Actor of Mary Jane, Kirsten Dunst, hates it when actresses scream all the time in films, so all her screams in this movie are recycled from the previous films. Initially, a fully black latex suit was made for Tobey Maguire's symbiote suit. Due to its unintended resemblance to a BDSM gimp suit, the costume was revised. The team then chose to create a black version of his traditional red and blue suit with minor changes. Spider-Man 3 claimed the title of the most expensive movie made in 2007. With a budget of $350 million, it surpassed Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End, which had a $300 million budget. In the original comic version, the revelation that Spider-Man's black suit was an alien symbiote came from Reed Richards, also known as Mr. Fantastic. However, due to 20th Century Fox holding the character rights then, this detail was altered, and Dr. Kurt Connors, aka the Lizard, took on that role instead. Gwen Stacy's actress, Bryce Dallas Howard, executed all her stunts in the scene involving a crane crashing into her building. Interestingly, she later discovered she was pregnant during the stunt shooting. And finally, at number 50, Peter's grumpy landlord, Mr. Ditkovich, was a character created solely for the movies, and his name is a not-so-subtle reference to Spider-Man co-creator Steve Ditko.